Welcome to part 4 of your Joyful Life Balance Starter Kit. So I'm Emma Lavelle. I'm the host of the Life Atelier podcast, which is where we are doing these 5 parts together. If you haven't already done the first 3 parts, there'll be a link under the video, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, in the show notes, so you can go back and you can start again. But just to show you where we are, if you're watching the video, I have a new diagram because I got so enthusiastic recycling things yesterday that I recycled. I recycled the one I've been using, but that's fine because it's a very simple diagram. So part 1, we looked at what is in the center of this triangle, which is your life balance ritual. This is what do you want, right? This is what we call the project inside the Life Atelier. So each month we have a project to focus on for 21 days, and we experience learning how to complete that project, achieve that goal from a place of being fueled by joy. Okay, so the Life Atelier is a coaching studio, it is a place where ambition meets joie de vivre. And we really focus on learning this skill of achieving our goals through building confidence, through creating flow. And it's that feeling of like dancing instead of like pushing and hustling. Okay, it's a skill, right? Just like anything else. Then we covered creating space, and I've put a little summary here. So some of the ways that we looked at for creating space are energetic. So that can be boundaries, it can be decision making, working with your future self. So creating that space of time traveling forward. It can be looking at where you've created success in the past, and so time traveling backwards. All of these tools just help us to create a bit of space and zoom out for the problem we're solving. We also looked at forgiveness, creating that energetic space from forgiveness, and then using the breath to create physical space. And even looking at your environment, what could you clear? How can you create space in your environment? Sometimes that's a really fun place to start if you're feeling overwhelmed. It's just to start by reorganizing, moving things around, making your space beautiful. Number 2, we did investing in yourself. And no, number 3, it was create the vision. What do you want? Create space, then invest in yourself. And these concepts of rupture and repair, how are you using language to repair your relationship with yourself? Authenticity, where are you not being authentic, right? Which parts of you are you still kind of feeling are covered up because of how you've grown up, because of what you were taught, what you experienced? Internal resourcing, right? For me, this is all about, I thought about it yesterday because obviously, as I prepare these little guides for you and I go into the trainings and I revisit things inside the Life Atelier for our members, I'm thinking about what do I want to update for myself? And one of the tools that we use is this self-perception update, right? And I'll give you an example of this morning. So I'm experimenting living without a car this month. And yesterday was the first day where I took the train to go to my yoga class, and I walked Rita without driving her to the place that I walk her. This may sound like very logical to you, like, of course, why wouldn't you do that? But we have like a gang warfare going on outside the house between the cats. So obviously the cat's against Rita, my dog. There's a Labrador at the bottom of a drive. The driveway is approximately this inclination. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm showing like sort of 45 degrees. It's a really scary driveway. It's like being at the top of a fort. And I have already experienced more than once being dragged down it when it was slippy by my dog, who weighs 26 kilograms and I weigh 47 kilograms. So just imagine what happens when she picks up speed and my center of gravity shifts. It's not fun, right? It's not fun. But I decided this is what we're going to do. So I thought, okay, we'll give it a test run this morning. And instead of me having her in front of me, where obviously she can start to pull, I decided, right, I'm going to go backwards. Okay, I'm not going to look at the distance behind me. I'm going to go backwards and keep her focused on me and like feeding her treats all the way to the bottom. And we got about halfway down the driveway and I heard woo woo, and it was the bloody Labrador. But I just thought, okay, use my coaching tools, deep breath, calm my nervous system, assume that there is the possibility that this is going to work. If it doesn't, we just go back up the hill and that's okay, right? So again, like we talked about yesterday, I allowed the possibility that it could work, and I was also prepared for it not to work. I've fallen on my ass before. You're listening to this. The camera just zoomed in just as I said that. Thanks, camera. I have fallen on my ass before. I will fall on my ass again until the end of this life, right? That's what happens. Um, and we got to the bottom, right? We got to the bottom of the drive. The Labrador was quiet once he was like, huh, they're not reacting to me. And we continued on our walk and we had this walk. And I realized, like, wow, okay, let's just update this. We suddenly have all these possibilities of all of these walks that we can do without the car. And so by 10 a.m. this morning, I checked my steps and I'd already done like 11,000 steps on my phone. So I can see the shift in my fitness levels, how that's going to impact. How is that going to impact my calmness, my capacity to coach, my presence? How's that going to impact Rita? And also yesterday, because I'm getting the train into Toulouse, when I scheduled my next yoga sessions, I immediately just scheduled the trains. I booked my trains around them. If you don't live in France, just take a moment. Guess how much the train is to go into Toulouse and back, right? It's a 15-minute fast train, but it can also be 45 minutes. €1. Amazing. Okay. So I managed to book all these like €1 trains in and out of Toulouse. And I did my food shopping in Toulouse. And as I came home and as I was doing this like self-perception update of, okay, who am I now that I wasn't a few minutes ago? Who am I now that I wasn't yesterday? I realized my brain has already shifted to living in the center. I haven't even started to look for my apartment yet, but my brain has already moved from I live in the suburbs to I live in the city center. It's so interesting how that happens. So I just invite you to just pause for a moment and just do one of these little updates. What do you know now? What are you able to do now? What experience do you have now that you didn't have yesterday? And the same as we finished the exercise yesterday with I am someone who, add that on, right? I am someone who tells people how I feel. I am someone who, instead of getting the second biscuit, asks themselves, do I want a second biscuit or am I just bored? Right? Maybe you have the second biscuit. That's all right. Right? I like to have coffee. I like to have a glass of wine because I like the buzz. I'm not pretending anything else, right? I'm not being like, oh, yes, it's so good for my health. No, I like a little buzz. Do I like too much of a buzz? No. Okay. Therefore, it's important I keep asking myself that question and being honest with myself. 3 glasses of wine, I don't like, right? It numbs me. I can feel it numbing my body. 2 glasses of wine with food or spaced out, okay. And it will change day to day. 2 coffees is never a good idea for me, but for you, it might be absolutely fine. So just, I am someone who checks in with myself, not with other people, before taking decisions and see how does it feel to embody that, right? Really powerful. Which brings us to our third on my beautiful life balance ritual for you, activating belief. So what I wrote here when I was thinking about how to share this with you today is that in a way, this is the easy bit, right? Actually doing the thing is actually the easy bit. And the reason is when you've cleared space, when you have invested in yourself, you've done the groundwork, right? It's almost like you've cleared the path, you've visualized it, you've set your focus, and now you just need to fire the gun or floor the pedal on the accelerator, right? We come back to that example that I shared with you of, maneuvering your car into the car parking space. Once you've got that space around you and you can see like, okay, yep. And this is something I even like to do. It's just a quick visualization. Like before I go to sleep, I just think about the day and how will it go. When I've taken a decision to have a conversation, I just imagine myself, okay, this is how I'm going to start the conversation. And this is how I'm going to look after myself if it doesn't go the way that I would like it to go, right? So you're not trying to control things, okay, because we can't. We can't control how people will respond. We can't control outcomes. What we can control is the language we use to talk to ourselves. So we can say, I will love myself. I will care for myself, even if I really fuck this up, okay? Even if I accidentally say that thing that I really didn't want to say, okay? And it all falls out, I will still love myself. It will be okay. And that's how we start to build this habit and build this practice of taking action. Now, I wanted to share that with you because it's being someone who takes action from a place of intentionality, creating space and investing in yourself before the action step, rather than being reactive, which is what I used to be 90% of the time. I was like, do. Okay, but it was reactive. It was just like, start a fire, put the fire out. Oh no, now there's like, I don't know. Now there's a hole, fill the hole. Oh, now I can't put anything here. Okay, let's start another fire to create space, right? That was just life, okay? Because that was very much living in fight or flight, right? And not having this experience of being able to control that. You may have that experience. Sometimes you may be in that right now and thinking, I don't know how to stop doing that because there's fires everywhere, right? The fires have been burning quite a while by now, right? If you're surrounded by metaphorical fires, they've been going a while. They're not going to get any worse if you leave them for a few seconds and you take a few seconds to breathe. I promise you, okay, as Queen Fire Starter and then Queen Fire Putter Outer for 30 years, okay? So what we want to do is just notice that, okay, being somebody who takes action intentionally, having decided how they will do the thing, how they'll start it, how they will evaluate it, how they will decide if it's a success or not a success. We really struggled with that word then. It's a practice. And I want to invite you to this idea that it's like muscle memory. Okay, so I shared this with my coaching clients. I share it quite often. I like to really think of when we're thinking about life balance, when we're thinking about any kind of balance, right? This is life balance. We're looking at all the different touch points in our life, all of the components that make us us, how we're interacting with everything, how we're interacting with ourselves. Is this balance of breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay. So when we're going to activate, we take a decision. Okay. So we breathe in and then we commit to it. So that commitment is like a breathing in. Okay. So we've got decision, breathe in, and then breathe out. Okay. And then we pause. If I've decided to do it, let's commit to it. So it might be like, I'm going to have this conversation and I'm going to have it before I have my cup of coffee. Okay, so if it's with a partner, you usually have breakfast together and you are having a shower and you decide, like, no, this is important, I need to have this conversation, you immediately commit to it, right? And you commit to it from an authentic place. I'm going to have this conversation because I am someone who has conversations about the things that affect me and that are important to me. Now, that doesn't mean you're doing it in a combative way, right? That's not coming from a place of regulated, calm, and commitment to yourself and from trust. We want to know that, okay, it's because this is something I've decided is part of me and that I'm focusing on. So before you have that sip of coffee, you bring it up, okay? And you can think about then, so breathe in, breathe out, visualize it, okay? What are the words that I'm going to use? And just do a little like mental rehearsal so that you can notice if like, ooh, actually, yeah, those words are coming from a defensive place. And have that little moment to just experiment. And for any of you, if you're thinking about even having a conversation with yourself, when you notice a should, I have to, I need to, that tells us it's coming from a defensive place as well, right? We think we should do something. It doesn't mean it's coming from an authentic place. So just tweak the language there. So breathe in, do it, right? Say the words out loud. Even if you're just doing this to yourself and right now you're practicing saying, okay, I am someone who prioritizes their health. I am someone who has and chooses to have uncomfortable conversations. And then breathe in. Okay. And then the breathing out is just let it be, right? Just notice, like, I just did that, right? And that's our self-perception update. You just became someone that does those things. And we just want to like absorb that and just feel like, okay, I'm someone who says this. I am someone who does this. I am someone who, right? And just really like, just feel it in your body. And then breathe in again. And then breathe out. And now evaluate. How did it go? Was it a success according to how I decided I would measure that success? Was it a failure? What did I learn from that failure? Okay. So it's just this muscle memory. And you can practice doing this with the small things when you feel good. Just as with Rita, when I decided this morning that, okay, I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to trust that she doesn't drag me down this hill. I'm going to trust that a cat doesn't appear. I'm going to trust myself that I have enough, like a microsecond, that if I notice her eye change, her body language change, to know that there's a cat behind me and to grab her so we can move up to abort, right? I'm going to trust myself that I can do that. Now, I built a bit of that trust by practicing yesterday when the angle was sort of like this and there was a big wide road. Okay, just did it once, just did it for a few seconds, but that was ready. So, two more things on activating belief. The first is before you take that decision, if you are just starting to practice taking action, it can be really helpful to just notice the fear level, right? And this can be a body check-in or it can be listening to language. Okay, anything telling you not to do it, that's fear, right? Anything about consequences. And here we really want to just listen to it and notice it. What is the fear saying, right? So mine is you're going to get dragged down the hill. Okay. So then I get to notice, like, okay, a fair point. It has happened before. Okay. However, I'm still going to do it. And here's why, right? As soon as you notice that fear and you make space for it, what happens is you start to drop that resistance. Because remember in step one, we talked about creating space and energetic space. So when there is a part of your brain that basically thinks there's like a gun in the room, okay, and it really thinks something awful is going to happen, because ultimately, what is going to happen? We stick with my example, I get dragged down the hill, or we think about the car, I bump another car, okay, worst case scenario, it's embarrassing. Have I done embarrassing things before? Yes. Will I do them again? Yes. Did I survive? Yes. Will I survive again? Yes. Okay. Is it possible that I'm going to live the rest of my life as a human without embarrassing myself? No. Do I think anyone lives their whole lives without embarrassing themselves? Not unless they're a psychopath and they're completely cut off from that capacity, right? So that's okay. So we can just quickly visit it and then we can take our decision again. And I think of this as like if you have a dog, again, I'm going to use Rita a lot, but with a dog like mine, she's a pit bull, she's a bully breed, she loves to pull, she loves to tug things. The moment you stop tugging, she drops the toy. For her, it's not fun. If there's no tension on the other side, there's no fun. So if I notice that she's getting too excited, there's too much energy coming from her, I'm still in control of that because I can just drop it, right? And we forget that we are in control. We are creating that resistance in our brain, that anxiety, that energy, that is coming from a thought that we have. Now, if you are not already a member of the Life Atelier, we talk all about this there is a workshop all about learning how to understand how your brain works, how it's interacting with your body. They're the same, right? Your brain is your body is your brain. Okay, the ultimate goal is to understand and integrate embodiment. But if this stuff is new to you, you might be like, what? I'm in control of my anxiety. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, my love. And that's exciting. Okay. You're in control of all of your emotions. We all are, right? So that doesn't mean we control them, but it means that we are able to change how we respond to and how we experience things. Okay. Just like Rita with her toy, we can just drop it. We can change the outcome in a moment. We can change how we feel about it. The final thing, number 3, okay, so when we're activating belief, we want to think about 1, the practice and having a skill of practicing this and building muscle memory as someone that takes action. 2, fear and our relationship with fear when we're taking action. And 3, the smallest little step, our focus. I got coached by an amazing coach inside Time Hackers, which is a program that I did. I coach in it at the moment. I'm still one of their guest coaches. My guest coach? No, I'm like a permanent coach. And we have a coach in there whose name is Tracy. So if you are interested in one-to-one coaching and you don't want to work with me, how very rude, or you're already working with me, but you want to experience working with other coaches, absolutely, right? I sometimes have like 4 coaches at once. Tracy is amazing. And I got coached by her and it was about taking decisions. And I had a list of about 80 decisions and of course the action steps resulting of them because I'd let my brain take control. I had not taken control of my brain. And she said to me, okay, well, you're only going to take one decision at a time anyways, right? So let's just do one. And that blew my mind. So it's so simple, right? It's so simple, but it's so true. You are only going to do one action step at a time anyway, right? You're only going to move your arm. You're only going to think one thought consciously. You're only going to sit down. You're only going to write one thing on the paper. You're only going to do one thing. So as soon as we own that and we say, okay, this is my strategy, sometimes what I'll do is like, I'll write my action list and then I'll literally cover it so that I can only see what's here. Okay, or I'll just put it on, love my sticky notes. I'll put it on a sticky note and I will physically move. Do what you need to do to support yourself in activating, in becoming someone who activates. And if that means you physically clean everything and shove it in a drawer until you do that one thing, right? However small it is, it might be writing out your list. You write the list, you take a break. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay? You pick one thing, you take a break. Breathe in, breathe out. Each time you're doing that, you are building self-trust. You are building being the person who does and takes action steps intentionally and evaluates them, right? And we can either allow that to happen because that's what happens anyway. Our brain literally can only focus on one thing at a time. There is a wonderful book called Stolen Focus by Johan Hari where he goes into the science behind this. But anyone that thinks they're multitasking, you're not. You're just switching very quickly from different tasks. Your brain can only focus on one thing actively at a time. That's different to your subconscious running in the background, but your conscious brain has one focus at a time. So we can just allow that to be the thing that's happening, or we can say, I am amazing at managing my mind and I only have one focus at a time, and then do that and intentionally do that. Okay, gorgeous humans. I will be back tomorrow with the final part, which is momentum and balance. And so this is kind of bringing this all together and then repeating it, right? We are going to start Unstoppable Autumn next week in the Life Atelier membership. We also have, so Unstoppable Autumn basically means we will start with a group call where we set up your projects, we decide what goal, what project you're going to focus on for November, and I'm going to give you some tools to help you choose your mind and body and project focuses. So this is how we do the balance. And then I'm going to give you a set of questions to support you in taking one powerful action step a day. We will only do it for 21 days and then we will break for the final week, right? So I just want you to imagine that thing that you have in your head, right? Or that thing that you're scared of saying so far. And it might be you're getting back in the dating game, okay? And you decide like, I want to enjoy dating. Or it might be you have a financial goal in your business, or you want to plan a trip, or you want to finally get an amazing sleep routine and start waking up at 6 and feel good about it, right? Waking up at 6, being rested, exercise, wellness, whatever it is. Imagine how it would feel if for 21 days you took a powerful action step to invest in it and you got that data, right? That's what we're going to be doing. And for those of you creative entrepreneurs who work for yourselves, if you decide, okay, this is the month, I want to go down to a 3-day week or a 4-day week or whatever that looks like for you, then have a look at 3-day week club as well. And of course, you can just message me or email me and I'll help you.